Hello, everyone. This is Michael speaking, and I have a question for you. Have you ever wondered what it's like to live the life of a furry? In a world where alcohol is banned throughout the whole universe, where one singular bar is illegally selling bourbon to any horny wolf that walks through the door? Or have you ever wondered what it's like to experience a Destroy Lonely concert? If you answered no to any of these questions, well, you're lying. You're lying to yourself. There's no other way to put it. So I'm telling you to look no further than Furry Sex Cabaret. See, Furry Sex is a hardcore open world survival game, and I'm not lying either. It's based in a small town, probably located somewhere in California, because if you live in LA, there's like a 95% chance that you are a furry. This game was made and published by Furry Tales, and if you don't know who they are, I'm surprised, because they're the masterminds behind riveting gaming experiences such as Furry Hitler, Furry Cyberfuck 1 and 2, and who could forget about the most anticipated game of 2023, Sex Gym. Listen, I'm not here to tell you why you should purchase this game. No. I'm only making this video to prove to you that this is one of the greatest gaming experiences ever. Just ever. Forget about The Witcher 3 or Deus Ex. They don't have anything compared to this game. So without wasting any more of your time, we're going to dissect Furry Sex so we can truly understand just how awesome this game is. Alright, first topic of discussion, story. You play as the most generic named furries in all of existence. They range from like Hank, the corrupt cop who takes bribes in exchange for not brutally assaulting the sex workers. And you also play as Clint, but I only refer to him as Clit because my small monkey brain thinks it's super funny. I think Clit is some like octopus thing. I'm not very sure because besides Henry, none of their faces are shown at all. You just see like a cute little silhouette of them. So you play as a wolf, an octopus, maybe, and the rest are pretty much Khajiit looking motherfuckers. And their names are so generic that I already forgot. Let's get back on topic though. So, the story in itself is pretty solid. It's pretty solid from beginning to end. The first bloke you play as, like I said, I don't know his name, so we're going to call him Craig. So Craig has a crippling alcohol addiction, and he spends most of his time at the cabaret trying very desperately to get some furry pussy. And luckily for Craig, his alcohol addiction and the furry gods are on his side because he meets Nancy the Fox, who is amazed that he can down a 175 of straight Everclear without throwing up liquefied fur balls. And she's actually so amazed and awestruck that she immediately takes you to the VIP room to exchange in a little Khajiit mischief.
Stop right there, criminal scum! You violated my mother.
After this friendly little exchange, we have a super dramatic character swap where you play as my personal favorite, my favorite chapter. You play as Clit. Now, Clit is a hardcore meth user who enjoys stalking the furry dancers. And more specifically, he enjoys stalking Leah. But, I suppose it's okay that he's a stalker because he's cracked out 24/7, and his superpower is being very gentlemanlike. He's kind of like your generic like Discord or Reddit mod. He's always saying ma'am or madam, and he's tipping his very small fedora that does not fit his head. You see, Clit's just trying to get a simple autograph from his favorite dancer. He's been doing this just to get a simple autograph, but he is seduced and taken advantage of. I know. It's a horrific crime, and unfortunately it goes unnoticed. Now, after this, the story takes a dark turn, where the lines of consent are pretty much non-existent, and everyone just exchanges furballs with each other. It's a dark world we live in, and the only way to survive in this cold world is to just drown all your thoughts in the bottom of a shot glass. It sucks. And let me tell you, I'm not joking when I say this story takes a dark turn. All of the dark lore is shown throughout the rest of this game, especially in this next chapter, where you play as a nameless bartender who's up to no good. This underpaid bartender is so fed up with his job that he resorts to slipping a perk in poor Lily's drink, seducing her immediately. After committing this heinous crime, Lily and the bartender, well, you can imagine what happens. I don't know how no one saw it because they just do it behind the bar. I don't know how no one sees it, but that's about it for this chapter, so we're just going to move on to the next one. Chapter 4, we don't really play as anyone. We pretty much just play the crowd. And I can't really make up a backstory on this, so I'm going to save us all the time. And we're just going to cut right to the chase. Lee and Luna, they go on stage, and they assault each other for the viewer's pleasure. It's fucked up. Alright, we're over halfway through the game, and we're going to jump to Chapter 5. Chapter 5, we play as Henry the local blacksmith.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
Nah, I'm just playing. But we do play as Henry, and Henry spends too much time on Discord. He's got the huge neck beard, he's got the whole package. And he found himself a little e-girlfriend, Mia. And he is so determined to meet up with Mia that he flies from his small hometown of Karlovac, Yugoslavia. Yes, you heard me. We can all rejoice because Yugoslavia does in fact exist in this universe, and I do have proof to back this up. After making the long flight to LA, Henry is immediately greeted with the most disgusting place two furries could exchange fur balls: the floor of a public bathroom. And Henry is so disgusted, he tells Mia, Mia's heartbroken, and she's lost her will to live, to be honest with you, and they both end up leaving the bathroom in shambles. Luckily for Henry, though, he did go back to Karlovac, and he served 10 years in the Yugoslavs People's Army. So props to him. Chapter 6, we play as Peter Griffin, and Peter was teleported to this dimension to hook up with a rabbit, and Peter falls in love with this rabbit after seeing her very nice Vivienne Westwood pearl necklace. Unfortunately for Peter, though, he's very poor, and his coins have no tangible value in this economy, in this world. So Peter does what any other person would do in his situation, and he resorts to panhandling, which, everything else that's going on in this world, this is nothing. This is nothing. And he's able to scrape by, and he rents a cheap ass motel that stinks of wet fur, cigarettes, and a copious amounts of alcohol. And we all know how this one ends. And at least luckily for Peter, he does get back to his other world, so that's good. And we're just gonna move on to chapter 7. And this chapter we play as Hank. He's my least favorite character because he symbolizes the corruption that unfolds in this city, and he is the main pillar of this corruption. You see, Hank is a police officer who finds Mia and Nancy, who just arrived at the motel that Peter just left. And Hank is going to arrest these two because, like I said earlier, the prohibition is still in effect, and they've been caught drinking in public, which is a big no-no. Panhandling? Slipping perks in people's drinks, that's fine, but if you're drinking alcohol in public, Nah. Usually for a crime like this, they mostly get the death penalty. Death by a firing squad. It's tragic, but luckily for these two, they're able to seduce Hank with a bottle of the freshest cologne, the good old Telvanni Bug Musk. And Hank graciously accepts the bribe, and he lets the two on their way. And at last, we've made it to the final chapter. The final boss, you could say. We've made it this far, folks, and you're probably wondering, what could the final boss be, Michael? What is it? Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's just a giant orgy. They rent out the entire cabaret and they just go at it. And that's about it. Overall, this story was amazing. It makes the player feel every type of emotion, from happiness to anger to sadness, and also being horny. Second topic of discussion, gameplay. Gameplay in furry sex, it's engaging and immersive. Gameplay consists of basically, it's just a game of 2048, and if you don't know what 2048 is, you move numbers, and you make the numbers bigger, and you combine them. But it's much better than the other ones, let me tell you. You know, when I think of games that have like a huge difference in like mechanical skill gaps, you know, I think of games such as CS:GO.
Smoke weed every day, every day.
Or titles like Rocket League. Or when people talk about difficult games, you know, many people point towards the Souls games, you know, the Dark Souls 1 through 3, Elden Ring, Sekiro, or even Demon Souls. But they're all wrong. You see, as a fellow virgin loser, I've played a handful of all of these games. Not really Demon Souls or Dark Souls, but Elden Ring and Sekiro I've put a good amount of time into. And Furry Sex, it takes inspiration from all of these games and combines it all, while also adding its own unique twist. You see, after I failed the first time in Furry Sex, my blood was boiling. I was pissed off. The feeling I got was very similar to when I get fisted by Ishin the Sword Saint. But Sekiro is a glorified rhythm game, while Furry Sex is a lot more and a lot greater. Because when I fail in Furry Sex, it's not because I'm too stupid and don't understand what the numbers mean. That's not the case. You see, it's RNG. RNG determines whether or not you win the level or not. That's all it is. And there's been times where I've made one simple move, and the game proceeds to add 5 new blocks to the chopping board, and I just get shit on more than the Guardian Ape. It's awful. Look, as a professional and hardcore gamer, I know what makes a game great, and it's not the process of learning the mechanics and taking down a foe. It's not learning every single hold point of an area on a map and knowing where every single enemy is just by hearing one shot. No, that's not what determines skill. So you might ask yourself, what does determine skill in a video game? And the answer is actually quite simple. It's RNG. Everyone knows RNG is what truly separates the good players from the complete noobs who shouldn't have never even thought about purchasing the game. I love it when I lose a puzzle in Furry Sex. It motivates me to suck the furry lords off, praying to them that they don't dick me down. Once you start progressing in this game, the layout of the blocks will become increasingly more difficult, making RNG your best friend while also being the pillar of hatred, and that's what I like about video games. I could talk for hours about how amazing the gameplay is, but I simply don't have the patience to make a 7-hour breakdown of this game. My TikTok-infested monkey brain simply cannot handle that kind of time and patience. My attention span is very similar to a gnat, and I can't do it. So this pretty much wraps up the gameplay part, and we're going to move on to the next topic. Topic number 3, music. Ah, yes, the music. One of my favorite parts about Furry Sex. You see, the OST for this game, it reminds me of like 50s and 60s LA, you know, that LA noir, the nice soothing jazz accompanied by the beautiful piano. It's almost like this game sucks me right into the world, and I'm living in it. That's how good this soundtrack is. But, unfortunately, there is a downside to all of this. The downside being that it all sounds the same. It all does. So, after listening for about an hour and a half, I couldn't take it. I was going insane. I was going literally insane. I couldn't take it anymore. And besides one other chapter where the music will go a little bit more fast-paced tempo, it's kind of like jazz hyperpop. And I think a lot of aspiring musicians can take notes from this OST. You know, after like the first 5-10 minutes of listening to the same song just loop over and over, it was like a horrible LSD trip, one I could not escape, and it would haunt me for the rest of my life. So, to sum it all up for the music part, Furry Sex OST is a 10 out of 10, and I believe if Angry Joe reviewed this, he would slap his badass seal of approval on this one.
you 10 out of 10, and it easily earns the badass seal of approval.
Ladies, gentlemen, and fellow furries, we've reached the end of this review. There's not a whole lot left I have to say about this game, besides some of the cool glitches there are, such as the spacing between words when the game uses an apostrophe. It doesn't really understand how to close that space, or there are a couple of times where the name of the person speaking, it just isn't very clear. Overall, I think this game is a masterpiece, and one that everyone should experience. It truly is one of gaming's greatest accomplishments, one that defines a new era of games, where the creators listen to its fans. There's no battle passes, no battle royales, no early access, and no promises broken. This game delivers on every aspect, and I wholeheartedly recommend this to anyone who is new to gaming, or even like a long-time gamer. Because, let's be real here, you're not a hardcore gamer until you play this on your main account, because only Chads play furry games on their main. If you enjoyed this video, clip on your furry tail, smack the like button, and even if you absolutely hated it, smack that dislike button. And if you're feeling energetic, swanton bomb the subscribe button. I also stream on Twitch every so often, so if you want to, you can follow me there. Recently, I've been playing only the greatest gay baby games, like Rocket League, where I struggle not to go back down to Diamond, or the new Call of Duty, where you can watch me suffer and go through every single stage of insanity trying to unlock gold camos for all of the weapons. That's all I got for you. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and now, Michael is gone.